Alright, so if we're mamunyina kwaba eba ifidi kese so Pinaxtv. Minoka say there's something which is actually brewing in the camp of the National Democratic Congress. Yes. Kpebu was one of the few people on campaign here, champion here for the return of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. But then recently, a year in Sema Babetuja concerning global info analytics polls on media bar HSA say ne. And ne. Say I have the NPP for Flagbearership race, Baumia, and a tip to win. In fact, NDC for Krasi Baumia is the next president. Now, based on this, Nebisa Martin Kpebu said, at the end of the day, does he still does he still see Baumia coming back in 2028? You know, see there be. But he said, however, there are certain things also in the camp of the BNI, that's not the Bureau of National Investigations here, and NIB, the National Investigation Bureau. HSA, there is some abuse of power also. Now, according to him, he's actually sat down to analyze this and Waka said, if many more or 10 more of these things happen, he is going to vote for Baumia and surely campaign for the New Patriotic Party. This is one of the first times, and I said one of the first cracks we have seen in the National Democratic Congress or more early government already. Polls are Musa down quite the bar and HSA. The favorability polls and the favorability rate and Mahama enjoying a swati. We wait to say the honeymoon period is actually gone. You see, and we are facing reality. But you go to Sama Martin Kpebu and Kasa edit tuja how he actually set distance. Yebabaka. Yebetwas. In video Yebabaka Yebetwas.
Based on the outcome of the 2024 elections, would you say the popularity as against the viability of his candidate?
Business.
Okay, so why are you talking about 8 years when the NPP itself is eyeing 2028? So why are you talking about 8 years when the NPP itself is eyeing 2028?
No, they can't win 2028.
Why do you make
unless
this
something like what the BNI is currently doing goes on and on, maybe 20-30 cases. Oh, then that one, if BNI continues on this trajectory for maybe another 10 cases, it's possible I can vote for NPP. Okay, but I'm sure with this, Mr. Kpebu will be well warned that he should assert himself and stop abusing human rights.
So
right?
Last week you indicated that the only way the NPP will have a chance is when there's extreme misgovernance.
Absolutely.
By the NDC.
Yes.
Within the next 3.5 years.
When they do it beyond what Akufo-Addo did.
That would be the only way Baumia's candidature will be legitimized.
Exactly. Because remember that JM himself, he could come back because Akufo-Addo couldn't perform as much as JM. So it was like, me hear that day, Sambe wa me, ofu fraud by, you know, you see, me hear that, so, like Momo, you go back to your ex-girlfriend, if the new one is performing worse, then you're like, hey, Sankofa Yenchi. You see, I'm sure in all the languages, you'll find axioms and proverbs that say that just eat humble pie. If you get a new boyfriend or new girlfriend and he or she is performing worse than the previous one, then just go back to the previous one and apologize. That's if the previous one is still, the ex is still available.
I see.
Yes, so that's the only way Baumia. But considering the way our society is changed, I doubt that this government can perform worse than the NPP. Because you see the president yesterday had to meet the CSO. You see the
conversation will come to that.
But it tells you that Ghana is changed. No, if you look at the election results, I'm sure it's not lost on Honorable Suhini, the rest of the NDC, etc. That Ghana is changed. It can't be the Akufo-Addo, Kukwasa, and the Nebukadnezar tone-deaf business.
Okay.
So that is what Martin Kpebu edituja. Now, Odituja no Professor Zato or no so ebemu edinsin betuja say he, even though Obitima say he leans towards the National Democratic Congress, can say unequivocally say Nipa Sisi and Obitima the next president of the Republic of Ghana Baumia intie insema Professor Dr. Zato and Professor Zato edituja man for party say it seems like the NDC already know me say the 2028 according there as a ombeja to baby Annie because for a year Dr. Joshua Jebutu Zato or feed the Department of Political Science for him to say the next president Baumiani there I think that should shake the NDC's table. Yenko T somebody to better also.
Based on the outcome of the 2024 elections, would you say the popularity as against the viability of his candidature, he will still be a viable option or alternative?
Based on everything you have just said, I can say without any equivocation that the next president of the Republic of Ghana will be essentially Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That is also because he has I've just told you, if he's coming, it's like Mike Tyson coming out against Bukom Banku.
And yet he was just accusing Martin of playing God.
I'm also telling you this. And the NDC is now, he made something. He, when Aliu Muhammad did not win the NDC, you know what happened? NDC went out and said that in their party, they have a tradition of elected vice presidential candidates.
So you had indicated that Martin Kpebu was almost playing God. I think this emphatic statement is,
I'm telling you about I'm playing statistic. There's something unfortunate that is happening within the NDC that I'm not happy about. For the first time, the NDC is moving away from their tradition of letting the sitting vice president replace the president. And they are doing that, trying to bundle away and try to push out the sitting vice president, which is not fair. Jerry John Rawlings handed over to his vice president, Mills.
Hold on.
So it's here for before you go to science na Dr. and Professor Zatodi to your patch say I didn't tell na post and saying na air Professor J Nano Puku ni din enka and according to him no patch say a yadi and penifubi na atena se ahisha to sisiano the be choose vice president as a president trim sisi obi biara tim be di president yenko tin sema Professor Zato edu to your bar yebeto aso.
There's something unfortunate that is happening within the NDC that I'm not happy about. For the first time, the NDC is moving away from their tradition of letting the sitting vice president replace the president. And they are doing that, trying to bundle away and try to push out the sitting vice president, which is not fair. Jerry John Rawlings handed over to his vice president, Mills.
Hold on. Gentlemen,
Can I be allowed to make my point here? Can I be allowed at least to make my point here?
Hold on.
The NDC has a tradition. The NDC has a tradition of making sure that an incumbent vice president takes over from the sitting president. That is the NDC's tradition.
Okay. But if you say
let me develop that point. Yes. And that point was solidified on what became known as the Sword Road Declaration, where Jerry John Rawlings stood up boldly, held the hand of Dr. Mills, and said that Mills was going to lead him. When he did that, Guzitano and the Reform Report, they left the party and went and formed a new party. And from that moment on, the NDC almost disintegrated onto three parts. But the NDC stood by. That is why Mills replaced Rawlings. That is why Professor Mahama replaced Mills. And today, it is the turn of Professor Jane Obokunana to replace Mahama. And what do we see? She's not even making the 3%. So when you see the fight back from the NDC that Musa Danko don't do what you are doing, what they are simply trying to say is that your poll now is saying that the vice president cannot be president. They are telling you that your poll now is saying that this woman is not where you are trying to muzzle out this woman. And that is why you see in the fight. When you hear Kwesi Ahoy and others calling into Metro TV to propose this, and they are saying that let's protect this woman.
Dr. Zato.
Let's go to, can I see the NDC? Can I see the NDC chat?
One of the things I don't do is to take up what happens on other platforms that we haven't seen.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so
to make it a discussion point.
Okay, I don't want to do that.
You know that.
No, good. So let's talk about the NDC. Can I see the NDC
so
list,
because
please?
you indicated that
the NDC, okay,
the NDC is muscling out.
The vice president, yes.
That is to suggest that the party has taken a decision to do so.
Whether it's by coincidence or it is the fact is that the vice president how can a president have 67% approval ratings, meanwhile the vice president is not even cracking the top 3%?
I asked a specific question.
Yes.
You say the NDC is muscling out the vice president.
Yes.
Where did they do that?
That's how I read the polls. Please,
that's
can you
how
put that,
you understand.
Can you put up the NDC polls?
That's how you understand the polls.
Good. So look at this. I want to.
That's how you understand that the NDC.
I want to tell you the analysis behind the poll. I want to tell you the analysis behind that poll.
Yes,
that's the headline. I want to tell you the analysis behind that.
I think that in understanding this,
Alfred,
the man who did the poll. Wait,
Alfred, if you could just pardon me. You see, it is Saturday morning.
I'm going to come to you.
It's Saturday morning. And see, when people wake up, I'm going to come to you. On Saturday morning, when they don't have to go to work, they want to listen to enlightening and enriching conversations.
Exactly. Let's do that. I want to do that.
Ridiculous.
I want to do that.
Hold on.
So can we look?
The person who did this is here. In reading this, is that to say that there was any specific muscling out agenda?
You know, I've never been part of any agenda of any group of people in my life. We put out an announcement. Look, we have done several work behind the scene. And in the first poll we conducted, she was first with 25%, then Harun Idrisu and the rest. Then she got into these health challenges. And thereafter, she was taking time to recover. We did a poll quietly and asked people, who would you prefer to lead NDC without her name? And we put someone else. And we said, if it's someone else, mention who. So obviously, if she was on people's mind after that situation, people would have mentioned her name or would have brought her back. So what the list we have is a combination of people who get in touch with us, our own assessment, and our own internal polling data. That shows people were not mentioning her. And we put out an announcement that her name is not there. If you believe any person's name is missing from the this list, please contact us. That was publicly announced. Nobody contacted us. So don't come and say that, look, Mr. Zato, I think let's be measured.
It's so ridiculous.
No.
Don't say no. You make your point. Let me also make my point.
Hold on.
Make your point. Okay, I'm listening. Because you can't tell...
No, hold on.
The polls are done by us, not by NDC.
And not NDC.
NDC doesn't own this poll. We are not NDC.
How can
Get it?
it be used to muzzle out?
If you like, your African and do a poll with her name in there, that's fine.
Some arguments you don't make them.
Can I respond?
So at least now that matter has been put to rest.
No, what matter?
You make a claim.
Matters put to
You are
rest? Let me
responding
explain.
to. You are asking for a response again.
Like what matters?
Do you listen to yourself?
Yes, I do.
You make a claim.
Can I do
He responds to you.
What matters?
And you ask if you can respond.
What matters put to rest? I'm telling you that you have...
Hold on.
Do what?
Hold on.
Do you listen to yourself
You
when you
made
talk?
a claim. And the person who did the poll is
Did I say he muzzled him out?
So
Did I say that?
Then
Did I say... So let me explain. I'm relaxed. I'm very relaxed.
On what basis are you then saying it's been muscled out?
Thank you.
With the poll.
Thank you.
With the poll. Your reference was with the poll.
Thank you very much. You have a vice president who is with the president. The president's approval rating is 63%. Very popular with all Ghanaians, with all NDC members. Yet the president, his vice president, cannot even make 2.0% within the party.
So you're going back to the point that he has just
I'm going
explained.
back to the point that so the point I'm making, you should understand is that. Why is the president so popular within the party and the vice president so unpopular within the party? Why?
That's how you understand
That's
it.
that's what the poll is telling me. The poll is telling me that the vice president doesn't even make the top 5%. That means she's not popular in the party.
Look, doctor, I respect the title doctor.
Yes.
Her name wasn't included here. So you can't say she's not popular.
You mean she was not polled?
She was not polled.
The vice president, the sitting vice president.
I'm telling you.
Lead the NPP.
You ain't listening.
You didn't poll the sitting vice president to place the party in the party that has a tradition of the vice president always replacing the president.
Not always.
You know, always. And the NDC is always. It's always.
You know,
Aka left office.
Hold on.
There was no transition. There was no transition.
Always.
Yes, I'm saying always. That's because Aka was not even a member of the NDC.
You made your point. Thank you.